how are you?
I'm fine.
So I'm Divine Bolanga. I'm a student in Bachelor of Arts program with College for America at Southern New Hampshire University, and I'm conducting this interview as part of my academic work.
Yes.
With your consent, I will record this interview and use information in a street interview. I'm working for a street video project.
Yes.
The interview will be used as video and submitted to the College for America so that my project can be evaluated.
Yes.
This recording will be used solely for this purpose.
Yes.
Do you have a question?
I don't have any question.
Thank you. Do you give your consent to be interviewed and recorded?
Yes. Melissa, I give my informed consent to participate in this interview to be recorded and used as part of the students' academic work.
Thank you. Here I have some questions to ask.
Yeah.
The first is, what are the three branches of government?
The three branches are executive, legislative, and judicial.
Thank you. The second question is, what does each branch do?
I don't know.
It's okay. Democrats and Republic are the major party. Can you name the third party?
The third party is Green Party.
Yes. The last question is, what is the process by which a bill becomes a law?
I don't know.
Okay, thank you, Melissa.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Divine Buranga. I'm a Kepler in Bachelor of Arts program with College for America, Southern New Hampshire University, and I am conducting this interview as a part of my academic work. With your consent, I will record this interview and use information in a street interview I am working on for a street video project. The interview will be used as a video and submitted to the College for America so that my work can be evaluated. This recording will be used solely for this purpose. So Aline, do you have any question to ask first?
I don't have any question.
Thank you. Do you give your consent?
Yes. Aline Nyarukondo give my informant consent to participate in this interview to be recorded and used as part of the student academic work.
Here I have some 4 questions to ask. The first is, what are the 3 branches of government?
Okay, thank you. The 3 branches of government, first is legislative branch, executive branch, and judicial branch.
Okay, the second is, what does each branch do?
I don't know.
The third is, Democratic and Republic are the many parties in America. Can you please state the third part?
The third party is minor political party.
The last one is, what is the process by which a bill becomes a law?
I don't know.
Thank you, Aline. I appreciate your concern.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Divine Buranga. I am a Kepler student and I am working on BA project for Southern New Hampshire University. I am working on the project called the Government and You. This project requires to take a street video. I just finished take street video. Now I want to explain much about the whole project. Let's move on the first project. The first question for this project. The first question is, what are the 3 branches of government? Both of my interviews respond to this question. We have found that the 3 branches of government are legislative, executive, and judiciary. The second is what role each plays. No one of my interview respond to this question, but let's look about the key roles for each branch. For legislative branch key role, there are 2 elected senators per state, totaling 100 senators. term is 6 years and there is no limit to the number of term an individual can serve. For this branch, we have what we call the House of Representatives. For the House of Representatives, there are 435 elected representatives, which are divided among the 50 states in proportion to their total populations. There are additional non-voting delegates who represent the District of Columbia and the territories. Representatives serve 2 years term, and there is no limit number of the term an individual can serve. Let's look on key role of executive branch. The executive branch have what we call the president lead the country. The president is the head of state, leader of the federal government, and the commander-in-chief of the United States Armed Forces. The president serves a 4-year term and can be elected no more than 2 times. We have vice president. The vice president supports the president if the president is unable to serve and the vice president can become president. Let's talk about the cabinet. The cabinet members serve as advisors to the president. They include vice president, head of executive department, and the other high-ranking government official. Cabinet members are nominated by president and must be approved by simple majority of senator, 51 votes if all 100 senator vote. For the judiciary branch, the judiciary branch interprets the meaning of law, applies as the law. It applies laws to individual cases and decides if law violation to constitution. It comprised of the Supreme Court and the other federal court. In the judicial branch, we have Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the United States. The Justice Supreme Court are nominated by the president and must be approved by senator. 9 members. We have 9 members that are make up the Supreme Court: a Chief Justice and 8 Associate Justice. There must be a minimum or quorum of 6 justices to decide a case. There is also what we call the Federal Court and the judicial agencies. The Constitution, these are the Constitution gives to Congress the authority to establish other federal court to handle cases involving federal laws, including tax and bankruptcy lawsuit involving in the U.S. Move on the second question. The second question is, what does each for each branch government, what does each branch do? Each government can change act of the other branches. For example, legislative makes law, Congress, House of Representatives, and Senator. For executive, they carries out laws where there is president, vice president, cabinet, and most federal agency. And also we have judiciary, who evaluates laws as Supreme Court and the others. Another question is, how are the 3 branches connected? Normally, the president can veto legislation created by Congress and nominate head of federal agency. The Congress confirms or rejects the president's nominee and can remove the president from office in exceptional circumstances. The justice of the Supreme Court, who can vote on constitutional law, are nominated by president and confirmed by senator. Another question is, how do they regulate each other's? The power of federal court. Not everyone agrees on how much power the judiciary branch should have. After all, federal judge and justice are appointed, not elected. Almost Americans believe in democracy shouldn't select officially run the country. On the other hand, perhaps Americans would be fair in judge. Let's move on the question 3. Democratic and Republican are the major parties. Can you nominate the third party? For this question, all my interview also responded to this question. They have said that the third party is Mino Party. They are right. And let's move on. How did the two-party system start? Actually, Republic have been around for more than a century and half, longer than Democratic, at least in English. We have seen that the yearly record use Republican current known is in 1616, found in a vision of Balaam, asset by Peter Hay. Also we have found that the earliest recorded use of democratic in English is not until 1788, when it began to be used to describe a person who supported the advocate democracy. Democracy is earliest to use was in reference to those opposite the aristocracy in French Revolution. Let's see about the impact. What impact do Third Mino Party have on the national politics? We have seen that third party candidates rarely win election in America campaign. Third party shifts nationally attention to particular issues. Also, this party, which is the third, can take vote away from major political parties. Last, the third party influencing the outcome of election. I move on question 4, which is, what is the basic process by which a bill becomes a law? Actually, to my interviews, I have seen that no one responded for this question, but it's okay. We are going to see how the way in which a bill becomes a law and how does it become a law. Actually, there are 10 potentially steps a bill can go through before becoming a law. The first step is a bill is born. Anyone may draft a bill, however, only member of Congress can introduce legislation and by doing so become the sponsor. Second, committee action. The committee action, as soon as a bill is introduced, it refers to a committee. At this point, the bill is examined carefully and its changes for the passage are first determined. The third step is subcommittee review. Often bills are referred to a subcommittee for study and hearing. The hearing provides the opportunity to put on the record the views of the executive branch, experts, other public officials, and supporters and the opponent of the registration. The fourth step is markup. For markup, when the hearing of completed, the subcommittee may meet to mark up the bill. That is, make change and amendment prior to recommending a bill to full committee. The fifth, committee action to report a bill. After receiving for subcommittee's report on a bill, the full committee votes on its recommendation to the House or senator. For the sixth is voting. Voting is after the debate and approval of any amendments. The bill is passed or defeated by the member of voting. The seventh step is the referral to other chambers. Referral to other chambers is when the House or Senator passes a bill. It is referred to the other members where it used followers some routes through committees and floor actions. Eighth action is conference committee action. Here, the action of the other chambers significantly after the bill. A conference committee is formed, reconcile the difference between the House and Senator version. The ninth is what we call the final action. After both the House and Senator have approved a bill in identical form, it is sent to the President. If the President approves of the legislation he signed, and it becomes a law. The last step is what you call the overriding a veto. Here, if the President votes for a bill, Congress may attempt to override to veto. If both the Senator and the House pass the bill by a 2/3 majority, the President's veto is overruled and the bill becomes a law. Thank you very much. That's all about the project called Government and You.